Welcome to the 9th day of the Aguinaldo Reflections. It's now about interreligious dialogue. We continue our theme from yesterday in terms of ecumenism and interreligious dialogue. Now, in an increasing globalized world, as the vast human society finds itself every day more intimately connected across the geographical, cultural, and religious boundaries, one cannot underestimate the impact of the Church's interreligious undertaking. Pope Francis said in his message during the Angelus on September 1, 2013, he said, "It is neither a culture of confrontation nor a culture of conflict which builds harmony within and between peoples, but rather a culture of encounter and a culture of dialogue. This is the only way to peace." In Nostra Aetate, that is one of the actually documents from the Second Vatican Council in terms of the dialogue with the Jewish people. It says that the Church looks with sincere respect upon those ways of conduct and of life, those rules and teachings, which though differing in many particulars from what she holds and sets forth, nevertheless often reflect a ray of that truth which enlightens all men. So, the Church now has a central role in the world. And what is it? It is to be a light of truth that will shine forth to other men. In the recognition of the unity of God's creation, Catholics are encouraged in dialogue and collaboration with members of other religions. We should not be the reason for conflict, but we should be the reason for unity. So let us connect that now to the Gospel. In Zechariah's Canticle, it shows to us that it is Jesus who is the light of the world. He is the light of the nations. And this is an essential element that should not be forgotten when we engage in a dialogue between those of different religions, and even among us, maybe among us Christians even. Jesus will either be a sign of unity or a sign of contradiction. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he prayed for the unity of his divided flock, that is ecumenism, as well as those who are his, but are not in the fold, that is interreligious dialogue. While interreligious dialogue is not proselytizing, it is also not about sensitivities when we surrender our beliefs. Because our tendency is, because things are, in order to be soft and gentle and harmonious, we just want to rattle we do not want to rock the boat, and so we just keep quiet and stop from talking about religion. But that will not be helpful in terms of the enlightening, in terms of showing that Jesus is the light of the world. So, on the other hand, while we are called to speak and to enter into a conversation, into a dialogue with others, it is also to connect with them in compassion and love, letting go of prejudice and biases against those who are of different religions. Now, Pope Francis said, as experience has shown, for dialogue and encounter to be effective, it must be grounded in full and forthright presentation of our respective convictions. In other words, it is not about letting go of our own faith. It is not about diluting the purity of our convictions. Rather, it is to be secure first in my own religious conviction. But my conviction does not trample others. Rather, while I am sure of the veracity of my faith, while I am sure of the beliefs that I have received from the fathers, from our apostles, we do not use this as an excuse to destroy others. So certainly, such dialogue will accentuate how varied our beliefs and traditions and practices are. But if we are honest in presenting our convictions, we will be able to see more clearly what we hold in common. You see, that's the beauty of what Francis, our Pope, is telling us, that the more we are entering into a dialogue, we will see, we have our differences, but we also have our commonalities, or common, what is common to us. And there, from that which is common, new avenues will be open for mutual esteem, cooperation, and indeed friendship. Now, Christians ought to be reflections of Christ. The testimony of one's life is nowadays more important than preaching of words. The Philippines is now becoming multicultural and diverse, with emerging sects that are slowly attracting Catholics to live. So what do we mean now? Zechariah said that Jesus is the light of the nations. Christians ought to be light also of the nations, of our own communities, of our own families, through our own words and through our actions. But sometimes it is more of the truthfulness of our actions more than our words. So my dear friends, I think I would just like to summarize the day's reflection. Number one, entering into a interreligious dialogue does not mean that we have to give up our own faith. It does not mean that we have to dilute our dogmas and doctrines in order to accommodate so that there will be no hurting of sensitivities. No, it's not. Rather, it is to have a clear understanding of my own faith and of my own religious convictions, so that when I enter into dialogue with others, so that when I encounter other people in this emerging multicultural and multi-religious society, we will not be afraid of the other. Rather, the more we are secure and of our own faith belief and listening to what they are telling, we will be able to detect that which is common in both of us, and to highlight that commonality among our faith beliefs and faith systems, so that we can create from there avenues of friendship and, of course, ultimately towards peace and harmony. So thank you for your patience for the past 9 days. The reflections might be short. It's not really perfect, but I hope that you have your own insights and helps in your meaningful celebration of Christmas. So once again, Merry Christmas to all of you, and may God prosper our new year. God bless us all.